One of the most fascinating aspects of politics, remember, this is politics. I can't say it enough. It's politics, is how things will change from day to day. So whatever you think of, whatever you could, if you consider maybe there's a rolling average, I don't know how you necessarily gauge what isn't important in the real world. But I am telling you that things change drastically. And it is your job to be versed, to be conversant with politics, not issues that no one cares about, but politics. And politics is psychology, it is perception, it is awareness, it is this collective idea of the electorate. It has nothing to do with what you may or may not know. You can refer to arcane, thank you. You can refer to arcane. It doesn't matter. There is this person out there that we're talking about. It's the voter. It's the voter. And I'm going to start off again, as Douglas McGregor would say. I'm going to start off again with this idea. There are voters. And there's one group of voters who are going to vote, like you and me, for Donald Trump, no matter what. We don't care. We're out of the position. It doesn't matter. We can talk about how great we are, how great things are. Great. Who cares? Who cares? I have no idea. All right, that's fine. The next thing is, the people are going to vote, I know, for Kamala Harris and Dancing Boy with his jazz hands. We got some, there's something wrong with this guy. I mean, there's some, not weird, but crazy. But that's a different story. And I know crazy. But to make a long story short, that's over there. Now, follow me on this. And I hope you don't mind me repeating myself because it's true. This is it. Remember something. We are talking about approximately 52 days from now. That's it. And these guys are freaking out because there's this group in the middle. And they're either undecided, independents, or people who can be poached from one group or another. We know who the outliers are. We know who they are. We've got it. Sometimes we will go to things to reinforce what we believe, and we think everybody knows what we do, and they will cite and send me things and say, what are you talking about? Nobody knows anything about this. Yes, but I want you to know that I know. I mean, there are people, bless your heart, and I mean it sincerely, but I don't think anybody means any harm by it, but they'll say, well, you know, Ayn Rand. Is it Ayn Rand? What planet are you on? Nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. What? Laura Loomer. There's a Drudge front page. Oh, there's a big kerfuffle between Laura Loomer and Marjorie Taylor Greene. I have people that I go to. And I have one friend of mine who's they're in their 30s, very, very attuned to what's going on. It's this new, dare I say, generation. It's hard to believe of people 30, 35, 33, but the new generation, but that's who they are. And I always ask, do you know who this is? No. Good. Thank you. Everybody has it. You should always have your kind of like your running poll, like who knows what? Who knows what? There are these folks right now, and they are, and I can't believe we're saying this, but the landscape is divided up into groups of people. I love certain folks who provide a kind of a way of thinking that I find most interesting, but they are, for the most part, irrelevant in terms of elections. When the election's over, we'll go back. I love to listen to Eric Weinstein. He knows nothing about American politics. He may know particle physics, but it doesn't this I know. And it may seem simple to you, but it doesn't. It's one of the most complex things in the world. Let me explain. Let me remind you of something. Let me tell you what we are doing here. And this is really, really critical. Remember a couple of things here. One of the problems that people don't understand is that politics is the idea of not what you do or your team does or anything along those lines. Politics represents, and this is critical, a collective idea of these people who will theoretically make they'll make the decision for you. You and I can talk all they want about, the Yankees did this, because the Yankees are the ones who are going to be actually on the field, so to speak. They're going to be on the field. They're doing it. We can talk about the Yankees. You're right about that. You can talk about how they're doing, how's Judge doing, what about the pitching, all that stuff. That's sports. Doesn't matter what this is. This is a different story. I've got people who are deciding on whom to vote for. And these people, if they agree with you, you like them. If you agree with them, you say, oh, you know what? They're really smart. They really understand. If you don't agree with them, I told you I have people that I go to. One of them is a friend of mine who's this is just my in my particular sphere. This is a guy in his 70s, young. I'm younger, but he's very successful business, but a diehard Democrat. And I have so much time explaining to him what I'm explaining to you. Okay, next paragraph. For those who are saying, is he talking about everything? Yes. So I'm going to figure kind of like a Brecht play. I'm going to say, all right, second act. Here we go. There are pictures, there are moments, there are things that affect people like you cannot believe. Do you remember when Lyndon Johnson held his beagles up by the ears? Do you remember that? No. It sent shockwaves. It was the beginning of this. When Bill de Blasio ate pizza in, I guess, New York with a knife and fork, they went crazy. But that's the way they eat it in Italy. It's considered absolutely okay. Little things, little stupid things, events. And we live in a world right now where America does not have time for issues. America does not have any time for issues. America is not interested in going through and sifting through all of the nuances of, no. We're going to be looking at things that are very important. Right now, there is something that is driving these people crazy. It's driving them crazy. And unless, and listen to Uncle Lenny, unless, or rather than them having the wherewithal to just ignore it. For example, timeout, example, subtext, example. I did a video yesterday on Shannon Sharpe. How should Shannon Sharpe have handled his case, his particular thing? Simple. How? It was the Instagram. He apparently recovered, or it went on when he was apparently in flagrante delicto. What do you think about that? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, make a long story short. The issue is he could have said nothing, but instead he made it worse by saying they hacked my phone, which drew them in. Well, maybe they drew them in. Then they started talking about it. All he had to do was say, I don't know, and then move on. You could, what do you mean you don't know? I don't know. Now let's talk about Sunday's game. He would have controlled the narrative. Okay. If I would have advised, remember, as a lawyer, you always say, what would I advise the other side to do? I would have told the Democrats, forget this business in Springfield, Ohio. Your business is not Springfield, Ohio. Whatever they're doing, you say, we're running an election right now. We're talking about changing the course of the world. We will defer to the good people and the city mothers and fathers of Springfield, and I'm sure they will address this. Now let's move on. By the way, where's PETA? Where is PETA? Anywhere to be found? If ever there was a movement, and I'm a plant-based dude. I don't use the V word, but I'm a plant-based person. And I thought, well, PETA certainly is going to be eating cats and ducks and this. Okay, fine. All right. Doesn't matter. Let me say this again. Let me repeat what I've said. If whoever's in charge of the Kamala campaign would have said, we don't know anything about what's going on in Springfield, Ohio. We will let them handle this. This is a local issue, and I'm sure they'll get to the bottom. Now, boom. See what I did? I pivoted. It's like when you're playing basketball, and I'm an expert on basketball. Right? The fade, I'm going this way, I'm going that way. We're changing the direction. I determine the narrative. I do, not you. I do. I take something, I throw it away, I throw it back, I discard it, whatever it is. I conduct, I direct the narrative. I do. It's my election. I determine. I never let you tell me what I should be doing, what I did do, what people should be doing. Never. Never. This is politics. Okay? Nobody is reading today about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Laura Loomer going at it. Nobody. Our good friend Edie says, Dems, collective hallucination. It's contagious. Well, remember, it's not, and it's true, Edie, but they think the same thing about you and us. They think we're in this, think of it as mass hysteria. They think the same way. They really do. And it's not true. They think it true. Okay? Let me just say that to you right now. Let me just put this in there. It's very simple. But to show you how desperate, because remember, Drudge is the direct line from the shadow government. This is one of their apparatchiks. ABC, not so much CNN. CNN, I've got to tell you, there's been more objectivity on CNN. Believe it or not. Caitlin Collins, who the angriest person, but she was on with J.D. Vance, and you know what? It was very, I thought it was good. She made her point, he made his point, it was good. But ABC, no. Now, next, should the president be in another debate? Yes or no? Let me ask you, stop what you're doing, answer my question, and tell me why. Why? And by the way, there's no need to type with capital letters. No need. It looks crazy. It looks like you're in a bathroom with lipstick on a mirror. Stop me before, like the Mad Bomber. Remember that classic? George was his name, Machevsky or whatever. Stop me before I bomb again. Let us use correct protocol a little bit, if you don't mind. Let me just say something. It's also important to write. If you can write in sentences, it would be so appreciated. I love the impact, and I appreciate this because I want this to be live. Most of, I was watching something the other day, and they have these live things, and they don't even acknowledge them. Like, I'm not going to mention the name, but there's one I really enjoy a lot. And this gentleman was not even, people were writing things in and things, nothing. People were super chatting. Nothing. They just like, well, I don't care. Over here. I read what you're saying. I read it. But just to let you know, it'll be helpful. Please write in sentences. Also, another thing too, if you don't mind, a little time out here. Don't say things like, yes. Yes, what? You think you're talking to somebody else. I don't know what you're saying. Yes. Maybe on Wednesday. I don't know if it zips okay. Yes. Yes, I caught one time. Who are you talking to? I don't know. I'm talking to this guy. We don't know. Remember, we are reading this. We are reading this later on. People are saying, I want to see what people say. Think about what you're saying. Your words are important. We want to know thoughts, not just blurts and memes and glyphs and morphemes and phonemes and little belches and the verbal eructations. We want thoughts. We want you to explicate, expatiate, tell us what you think. Someone writes, bread in circuses. Okay, what about it? Who's bread in circuses? What do you mean? When? Who? We know this is Juvenal, the Juvenal, the Roman poet. Yes. What do you mean? A lot of times people will write things just to let you know, I know what this means. Cognitive dissonance. Who has cognitive dissonance? Collective conscience. What is that? Jungian? Is this Jung? Who are we talking about? Who? Ubermensch. Who? What do you mean? I'm just throwing things out. I know this. The sorrow and the pity. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Say goodbye to Hollywood. What? Who? Okay, fine. That's all I'm saying. That's all, because we want to hear what you want to say. That's all. In any event, but I can't, because people do not know how to write. People do not. They really don't. They don't say there is. How do I say this? How do I say this in a way that somebody understands? And if you think it's difficult to write, it's even difficult for people to speak when they're running for office. Raul says the president should be in another debate. It will give more time to attract the independent, undecided voters. No, absolutely not. Wrong. Love you, Raul. Never again. He does not acknowledge her except for her insanity or her records. He is done. It is finished. They want a rematch. No. The reason why they want it is that they're dying. Let me explain to you. Today there was this thing that was said. There was, I don't know if it's this, okay, this you might have heard this before, and I don't know if it's true, but I want you to listen to this. Tim Walz, W-A-L-Z, Walz, not Waltz, like the last waltz. It's Walz, okay? I mean, that's his name, or Tampon Timmy, as I prefer. Tell me what you think he said here. Let you be the judge.
Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prosecutor. Kamala Harris talked about going in that courtroom for the first time.
Wait a minute. A young what?
Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prosecutor.
Wait a minute. A young what?
Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prosecutor.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Maybe it's me. I'm here. Did you hear something?
Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prosecutor.
Okay. All right. Maybe that was a mistake. I'm sure he meant prosecutor. I used to, as a joke, used to always say, well, as a prosecutor, and I would do it on purpose. It was like an old joke in the industry where we're prostituted. Oh. That was a mistake, obviously. But people are having fun with it because people are glomming on to her personal life. Big mistake. Nowhere. You don't need to do this. There's a woman named Esty Pulte. She does this She does maybe the best Kamala imitation there is. But you know what? She's making one big mistake. She's angry. And you don't hate someone. Norm Macdonald had more wisdom to say about things that were comedy than his actually being funny. I thought his prose and his ideas when he would speak with Larry King was far more interesting than his comedy. The comedy I thought was marginal, but what he thought about it. And they talk about people who imitate. And Alec Baldwin, for example, there we go. Raul says, Trump shouldn't be in another debate. Absolutely. Thank you, sir. When Alec Baldwin used to imitate or used to do the impression of Trump, it was mean. It was terrible, by the way. It was terrible. He would just blow his face up and it was there was a young man who came forward. He's the fellow on SNL who he picked up every mannerism. This is a gift. When you're hearing and you can hear whatever it is, and once that person is known as the voice of whatever it is, then everybody will imitate that person imitating Donald Trump. This may have been before your time, but there was a fellow named Von Meter. First Family was the album, and he did the Kennedy family. And he did, and it was okay, but he was the first one, and everybody imitated him. David Fry did the first Nixon. I am not a crook. And people imitated David Fry because he said, okay, I'm hearing this. It's this, 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 and this. So people imitated David Fry versus imitating Nixon. He also did Lyndon Johnson. There are certain people, the first person who did Boris Karloff, you don't remember this, but he would do anti-poster, and that was the thing that got you going. So there was this young man on SNL. I don't know his name. He might not even, I didn't even watch that. He was a tall fellow. I think he had blonde hair and glasses. He did the best Trump. And it was not mean. He didn't hate it, but it was so good. And now Shane Gillis or whatever his name is, he's doing it, and they're imitating him. He set the standard, and everybody after this is now doing, and they finally did this with the accordion and the whole bit. Alec Baldwin never heard it. Alec Baldwin was very good. He does but some are easy. He does like the Al Pacino, and he does a great Tony Bennett. He was very good. But this, okay. But he was motivated by hate. Going back to what I said, Esty Palti, the young woman and there was another woman a blonde woman, I don't know if you saw her, she had blonde hair. She was trying to do Kamala, but she was trying to remain glamorous. Esty does not want to do it. She does the look, the laugh. If you notice, you don't hear the laugh anymore. No more Kamala laughing. You notice that? Gone. Gone. It'll be now irrelevant. What are you doing? Oh, she used to laugh. She's gone. And the laugh is gone. George says, I'm surprised nobody has done a musical parody of Hello Walls. Oh, yeah. That's good. Hello Walls. That's Willie Nelson. I think Farron Young. Didn't Farron Young do it first? The sheriff. Then again, that would be an insult to Farron. Yes, Farron Young. I think Willie Nelson wrote that. I think. Marcus Ferguson, by the way, with this wonderful denomination, this monetary denomination that no one understands, but it comes across 100,000. And it always never ceases to excite me. But I think in the Indonesian rupee or whatever, it's $1.80. Just kidding. Just kidding. If I beat a speeding ticket in court, what would I ask the court to reopen my case to relitigate? If I beat a speeding ticket in court, why would I? Oh, yeah, ask the court to reopen the case to relitigate. Take the win, yes. if that's indeed the win. Let me see. Yes, Willie Nelson wrote Hello Walls. Hello Walls was, yep, Farron Young did it, and it was, yep, written by Willie Nelson, recorded by Farron Young Farron Young was in 1961. By the by, little Farron Young, little trivia. He was considered one of the most racist. They said it. He was like, "Oh, this guy is." When he met Charlie Pride, he would say things to Charlie Pride that anybody would say, "Oh my God, you shouldn't say that." They were the best of friends. And Farron Young did remember BC Powder? You know, Farron Young bent over backwards to support Charlie Pride, but he said things that people would say, well, that's racist, but he wasn't. It was, right, different story. Okay. So Estee Palti has this, and she was talking, I think it was with Megyn Kelly, and she was like explaining why. And she showed her, she started cussing a lot of F-bombs, and she basically indicated that she was the most upset with Kamala over the fact of her personal life or what she may or may not have done to get ahead, to and I'm thinking to myself, ooh, I don't know about this. I don't know why she's going there with that one. She's very angry. Lisolek says, check out Manon Matthews' impersonation of Kamala. Manon Matthews. Now, is that the one? Let me see. Manon? Okay. I will do that. Remember, once people hear it, the first person to do it, thank you, Liz, the first person to do it wins. Like there's a fellow right now, who is this guy, Aries Spears, is doing a Tony Soprano. No, the best Tony Soprano, if that's interesting to you, is a guy named Max. He pronounces it Cook, but it's like Koch, like Koch or Coke. His is so spot on. It's not even funny. Marcus says, always happy to excite you, Uncle L. Makes my day, sir. Thank you for that. By the way, have you noticed the Russell Crowe similarity? I'm just saying with the beard, and it's a compliment. I don't like when people people sometimes say, you know who you look like? Be very careful with that. Okay, now, last words. Do me a favor. Forget what she did regarding Willie Brown. It doesn't matter. It's always that I'm sorry. That is cheap. It's tawdry. And when a woman in particular, don't take this the wrong way, shows this hypersensitivity over another woman, perhaps, what's the word? Gaining something by virtue of her own sexuality, I kind of wonder why the antipathy. And I'll just leave it at that. Now, here's the most important part. You know and I know that we can spot not weird, but a little crazy, and also something that's a little bit. And let me ask you this question. I'm going to show this is Tampon Timmy getting done with his speech. And I want you to watch this. But I want you to watch this in terms of the following. Imagine that this is your child's little league coach, your young son that you've turned over, so to speak, to this man to be the coach. Just think about this. Watch his mannerisms. Watch the way he acts. Watch the way and think about this. Forget the fact that he wants to be vice president. Just ask yourself the question. If this was your son's your son's coach, what would you think? Okay? You got that? Now watch.
Rapids.
What would you think? What would you think? I'm going to do it one more time. Remember, this is your coach. This is your coach. Okay? Your son's coach.
Thank you, Grand Rapids.
What the hell is it? Okay. What do you notice about that? What do you notice about that? Tell me. Anything in particular? What do you notice? Anything? No, I'm serious. What do you notice about that? What's your take on that? What's your take? Drugs. He looks drunk. Pointing where? I think he's pointing to people behind him, maybe people who are behind him. What do you think about that? What do you think? He lifted his leg like a dog. This is Victoria Bentley. That's very good. I would have not noticed that. Thank you so much for that. He did lift the leg. He did. Well, let's watch this again. I missed that one. You know what? This is gay and drugs. That'd be a great album for like Axl Rose, gay and I'm just saying. Let's watch this. I missed the leg thing. Let's watch this again, friends. I missed it. You're very, very good.
Thank you, Grand Rapids.
Oh, hang on. Oops. Oh, whoop. I'm sorry. Hang on. Just a minute. Here we go.
Grand Rapids.
That's the leg. Let's see the leg. Here we go. Yeah. Blowing off a little steam. You know what I mean? Maybe there was some type of gastric irritation. Maybe there was something that. Maybe there was something there that perhaps some distress. Very interesting. Look at this. Uncle Sham says he farted. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for bringing us back. Now, let me get rid of this. There's a certain thing now that people are saying. Isn't it funny? You say effeminate. Now, here's what I say. I'm running the campaign. And I'm going to say to her, and I'm going to say to him, and I'm going to say to everybody, I don't care whether you like this or not. I'm getting the results back from people. And this does not seem to jibe with your story of how you were a command sergeant major, and you were carried a gun, and you served your country, and you're a coach, and you're a guy, and you're a thing, and you're a tough guy. Just saying, we've seen these kind of weird jazz hands. It's a very, very strange thing. Here is the thing that people don't want to talk about. I don't care where you are, but there is nobody, especially the undecided, middle of the road, who are saying, I like that. You know what? I like somebody who's hyper or exuberant. I want somebody who looks like part of a Bob Fosse, a 5, 6, 7, 8, like one of these, remember like a Borat character or it's just very weird. She stopped her cackling. She stopped that. Now, another thing too is if you think we're making this up, you're missing the point. This is what she said, because let me explain something. This is the thing that these people have to understand in terms of the image that the Democrats, and specifically Kamala and Tampon Timmy, have generated.
Power that I had, I used it in a way that was about pushing forward the movement, frankly.
Now, what movement do you think she's talking about? Well, let's look.
And the agenda. And so look at my record to know. When I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections, which was a client of mine. Wait a minute.
California, this is something where when she said this, they never told her, don't say this. This isn't going to age well. She wasn't listening.
I didn't get to choose my clients.
Right, a client of the Attorney General.
Wait a minute. Hold it. What's this? Hold it. Wait a minute. What's up here? This is the chairs are the same height. I'm just saying, who is this on the left? This looks like, well, what's going on here?
Of the Attorney General, of the Office of Attorney General, that they were standing in the way of surgery.
Surgery? Wait a minute. Are you talking about transgender? Wait, is this a transgender? Wait a minute.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving.
Oh, a prisoner. A prisoner. They're not going to be doing bypass surgery. They're not going to be doing stents. They're not going to be doing anything like that. But transgender surgery in prison? Why don't you, like most people say, well, why don't you just wait till you get out of prison? But no, this is pandering.
So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California. So that
she's proud of that.
Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care.
But not for bypass, hypertension, diet, hip replacement. No. That's different.
That they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy.
You're going to eat your words on that one. Do you think America likes that? I mean, remember, I'm not saying whether it makes sense or not. Think about the average undecided voter. You think this works with them?
In a Department of Corrections.
The Department of Corrections. People who have been convicted of crimes and sentenced. Do you know how much this costs? This surgery post-op? Oh my God. In a prison?
So you can just look at all the work I've done over the years to know.
Oh, and we will.
So I feel very strongly about this. And at its core, it's a civil rights issue. It's a
civil rights issue. Taking money that could go not to helping people with their various, dare I say, more prototypical medical conditions, but this
justice issue, and it's an issue of humanity.
Well, Senator, thank you so much for being here. Good luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you.
Okay, now, do you hear this? Do you hear this? Think about the curve, the Gaussian curve, so to speak, and in the middle, there are these people who say, she will say whatever she wants. And this has nothing to do with what you feel about transgenders, what you feel about nothing. I will tell you, and I think I speak for the rest of this country when I say that none of you actually, truly, literally, honestly, none of you give a damn what somebody wants to do in their private life. Period. Nobody cares what you do in your private life. If you want to be a transgender, it doesn't matter. Transgender, transsexual, doesn't matter. I think I speak on behalf of all of us when I say we don't care. But you're talking about going into a prison, hundreds of thousands of dollars. What are you talking about? Reconstructive surgery, hormone treatment, taking them out of the general population, and to have special hospital units for recovery. Not to mention all of the post-op care, maybe the psychological treatment for a person who might theoretically be sentenced to life. The absolute absurdity of this What if I told you, I'm going to say something more. Most people have you'd probably know this, where breast augmentation, mammoplasty, is something that is commonplace. Would you, as a candidate, actually be involved in supporting cosmetic surgery? Cosmetic surgery in prisons? Would you? Would you act cosmetic surgery? Would you actually do that? Would you actually think about what I'm saying? Cosmetic surgery? They would say you're out of your mind. And she would say, well, of course, that's different. This is not cosmetic surgery. This is beyond cosmetic surgery. Really? Is it really? This is the stuff. This is the stuff that you bring in and you tell somebody. Let me give you a sample of this. Ladies and gentlemen, between her and between Tim, and mark my words, Tampon Tim will be the worst thing they ever did. They will rue that day the most. They will absolutely, positively, without a doubt, rue the day they picked them. They had no idea. And the reason why is very simple. The reason why is very simple. And you know what? Let me tell you what it is. Because it happens all the time. And it's a very simple concept. And it goes back to what I talk about when I remind you of what politics is versus what policy is. Now, before I answer that question, let me tell you two things. And it's important that we make reference to our great sponsors. First, preparewithlionel.com. My Patriot Supply is the premier, the Bugatti, the Rolls Royce, the McLaren of not only, I want to call it like survivalist, when you need water purification, waterproof matches, food storage for emergency, when you know what hits the proverbial fan. Preparewithlionel.com. I believe in them. Spend just a second looking at what they have. Go to preparewithlionel.com and blow your mind. And they've got right now a deal that is even better than the other one. Now they've got a 4-week emergency food kit. You can save $50. You want to do it? You pick the plan that works for you best. It stocks everything in stock. It ships fast and free with a 25-year shelf life, and it's trusted by millions. Okay? It's that simple. The other one is our dear friend, and I'm sorry maybe I shouldn't. I just love people who have the unmitigated courage to say what they think. And that's, of course, Mike Lindell from our friends at mypillow.com. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. Again, you have to just go and just see this. mypillow.com, type it in / solidus virgule Lionel, Lionel, and see for yourself what is there before us. Okay? Okay, great. Now, remember something. Trump is not going to debate ever again. He doesn't have to. If he wants to speak, I heard something yesterday. I got to tell you this. I ran out and I was picking up Mrs. L from a meeting, and I don't know about you, but I left my phone in San Francisco. I left my phone behind. I felt so not naked, but oh my God, what if I get, it was terrible. Because you always take it, you plug it in, you've got your this and that, music or whatever it was. So lo and behold, I put on that transistor in the Yugo to stretch. And I heard Greg Gutbucket. It was the 5. Happened to have this song. I never listened to that. But I thought, okay, I'll listen to something just to amuse myself. And what did he say? He has said something that I have been saying for the longest time, but in a different way. He said the president should go on Lex Friedman. different platforms like that. And he's absolutely 100% correct. My friends, Mr. President, things are just changing. Things are changing. What was it that made the Beatles in the United States? What was it? Ed Sullivan. That's it. Without Ed Sullivan, they might have come around. You might have heard them. I don't know. Ed Sullivan. Notice I make this out. That means something, I guess. This is just a matter of fact. And what he has to do is say, forget it. ABC has no earthly idea of what they did and how people are saying that was just unconscionable. That was absolutely unconscionable. The lies, the 3-on-1. And let me also tell you something. Joe Biden hates her. Trump was absolutely correct. Can we do a little memory, a little bit of not memory lane, but I want you to remember, even when Joe Biden was and he is now at his worst, let's go back and listen to how different things were.
Remember what you saw on television. Remember seeing those neo-Nazis and Klansmen and white supremacists coming out of fields with lighted torches.
Remember the torches? This goes back to the anti-fascist movement. And they never made the connection. This goes back to the tiki torches, the anti-fascists. That's Antifa. But most people did not make that connection.
Remember what the president said when asked?
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Their veins bulging.
He said specifically that he was condemning them.
He did not. He said he walked out and he said, let's get this straight. The veins bulging on their as they were screaming. Remember, just close your eyes and picture what it was. Their veins bulging. Their veins bulging. Nazi sympathizers carrying Nazi fags. Veins bulging. Their veins bulging. Veins bulging. Veins bulging. How are you, baby? How old are you? Their veins bulging. Just their veins bulging. Bulging. Veins. Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys. Their veins they're bulging. Their veins bulging. Their veins bulging. Veins is bulging. Bulging. Fewer. Have you ever heard this president say one negative thing about white supremacists? Have you ever heard it?
Racism is evil.
Damn it.
And those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as America.
This is the way they work. And this is the way it works. And by the way, I'm sure that when they were talking about veins bulging, you know the old joke, Kamala saying, what was that? Huh? Somebody got my attention. What was that? Now, my friends, you and I can talk about this all day long. You can talk about this, and we can say this one's stupid and this one's crazy. Yeah. Okay, I understand. But let's go back to our friends. Let's go back to the people that we are thinking of the most. What do you think of people right now who might be in the middle, making up their mind, not really sure? First and foremost, I've got to tell you something. The level of desperation of these folks is out of control. Number one, do you believe that in Springfield, Ohio, the degree of this is one thing, but do you believe that Haitian immigrants, not all of them, but some, a sizable number, in a city of 58,000 with now 20,000 additional Haitians, do you believe that animals, pets, ducks, things walking around have been consumed? Not all of them, but have been consumed by certain numbers of certain Haitian immigrants. Yes or no? Do you? Anybody? I'll wait. Do you think it's just ridiculous? When you hear people, and by the way, remember, voodoo is one thing, consumption is another. We played a woman last night who said that her father was Asian. That when you are from a country that is so poor, by the way, not communist, not Marxist, not socialist. Oh, no. A country that has been, wasn't Sean Penn involved in Haiti? And then there was wasn't who else was involved? Remember the Clinton and the Clinton Foundation? Oh my God, they just went on and on and on. But do you believe? And you can believe whatever you want because of voodoo, because of this. Do you believe it's true when people stand before the Springfield? If one person is saying, "Hey, you're not going to believe this, but these Asian people or some, not all, but some have been consuming pets and ducks," do you think there's something to this? Yes. And what should the Democrats have done? What would I have done if I were the Democrats? I would have said, "Don't even bring them on. Don't even mention it. Just say, well, I'm sure they'll look into this. That's a local issue, and we thank you. Now let's move on." No. That's not what they did. They had to jump on it because they had to clarify this. Caitlin Collins, she's sitting there with J.D. Vance. I would have acted like, I would have said, you know what? I'm from New York, and I've seen stuff that in 1 week that most people will have never seen in their life. And it has nothing to do with a city of 5 boroughs of 8 million people. It just doesn't. I mean, it's true. But and we move on. I wouldn't have brought it up. But Caitlin Collins, no, she was told we have to go after these people. It's a conspiracy theory. And it was one of the most beautiful things in the world. Now, they are suggesting there's this supposed fight between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Laura Loomer. Okay. What is this? You know it, and I know it. Marjorie Taylor Greene hasn't really landed. She's a congressperson. Laura Loomer is not. Laura Loomer can say whatever the hell she wants. Marjorie Taylor Greene can say whatever the hell she wants. This is America, last time I checked. But Laura Loomer is out there. When I mean out there, not that she's crazy, but she says things where people say, what? And the media love her. If you were asked, listen, you've got an assignment. You can travel with or you can report on Laura Loomer or Marjorie Taylor Greene. What are you going to do? Who would you want? Who's more exciting? Who's interesting? I'm not validating, but I can't tell you the Loomer position something. I don't know. All I know is she says what she wants. And if somebody can be sitting there in a dress talking about paying for castration services in prison, Laura Loomer can say whatever she wants. If that's not crazy, then nothing Laura Loomer could be saying is crazy. That's it. I'm sorry. I've heard stuff that's nuts. You've made me sit there and watch 6'4" drag queens scare the living you-know-what out of kids in these drag shows like some divine John Waters dystopian horror show, and that was okay. But Laura Loomer's over the line? I don't think so. Sorry. Do what I did then. Get used to it. Say, well, different strokes, different folks. But they've hit a nerve because these people are so stupid. They don't understand. You're running an election. And the reason why this is important is because the people who are involved in the policy are the people who don't understand the politics. Let me give you another example. I told you this before. I'm going to say it again. One time we were on a cruise. It was an Air America. It was a good group, but they just didn't know how to do radio. And we were on this conversation, and I was on the stage with, it was Rachel Maddow. Everybody, all of us were sitting in chairs. She had to sit on the ground with her legs folded like a you know what I mean? Okay, fine. By the way, she was always one of the nicest people ever. No problem with her whatsoever. She's done exceedingly well for herself. But anyway, so we were sitting there. We're on stage with a guy named Mark Green, who was the former public advocate for New York, and he the Democratic stalwart, and Senator Gary Hart. Rachel Maddow said, and the first thing that Barack Obama should do is talk about his support for gay marriage. And both Mark Green and Gary Hart said, no, you're running for office? No. And Rachel Maddow looked at him like, what are you talking about? He goes, no. She didn't understand. That's policy, politics. You're dead. You don't say that. Americans don't want that. Or if they do, not enough, or it marginalizes. This is the thing that's happening. The Democratic Party is run by children. Edie Crowley says, I am confused. Did not the governor first deny that these pets were disappearing? Now he is asking for federal backup. You know, I heard about the governor, the attorney general. I don't know. All I know is that people are going nuts over this now. Tom Malloy says, I removed a ship out blocking the harbor after the earthquake in Haiti years ago. Great people, but completely different culture. It's all true. Well, thank you for that. But as this woman said last night, when you live in if you're in a place where you have hunger and starvation, the likes of which we can't even imagine, when you're hungry, there's no McDonald's. There's no, hey, let's go to, there's no dollar store or Dollar Tree to get a little tin of potted meat or something. It doesn't exist. You eat whatever's available. Evan says, I need proof of cat eating to show my cat lady Democrat friend. And let me tell you something, how stupid this group is from Taylor Swift, who's putting up these pictures of people of her holding a cat. Not now, because they took that, and because of AI, they have her eating. It's just, you can't beat this. All they had to do was ignore it. All they had to do was say, I'm not going. But they didn't, because they can't. They're so undisciplined. They don't know about politics versus policy. And all I could do if I were Trump, I would say, bring it up again. You can say, oh, yeah. So I guess all these people are lying. I wish Trump, his people would go to find all those people from Springfield and say, excuse me, yes. Did you make this up? Did I what? Are you lying? Lying? Not lying. Well, they say you're lying. It doesn't matter. That's the issue. This means everything to these people. This means it's the issue of issues. Who knew? Go for it. Keep going. They don't know what to do about this. The memes, have you noticed them? They're fantastic. It's genius. They show these cats leaving in cars. It's the funniest thing. And the meme represents something that words cannot necessarily explain. It's the greatest thing in the world. Go for it. But ask yourself a question. Do you have any people in your family? 30? Ask, do you know who Marjorie Taylor Greene is? Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to make, remember, they're trying about Jewish lightning. She was trying to make a statement, I think, I don't even know, about, remember whenever there were the fires, these really weird fires in Northern California, all of a sudden somebody saw lights and this and that, and somebody may have extrapolated. I don't care. If they can talk about Trump's veins bulging, you can talk about somebody who said, yeah, but I saw lights. So anyway, so there was some extrapolation about maybe it was directed energy weapons, or I don't know. And then somehow the Rothschilds, and then that was viewed as anti-Semitic. I don't. no, I think I'm trying to cobble together this theory or this particular piece. In any event, she got stuck with that. So Loomer's calling her anti-Semitic, this and that, back cat fight, cat, all right, back and forth. No, nobody knows anything about it. But to show you how bad they are, Drudge leads with that. Because they're upset because Loomer traveled on a plane with Trump. Who gives a about that? They're so desperate. Because if you see it in the front of Drudge, somebody told Drudge to put it there. They think it's worthwhile. They're scared. Keep it up. Trump, President Trump, I love you. I got our little chocolates. Mrs. L, by the way, went to D.C. and, I should have seen her in the Senate. By the way, follow her. If you want to see her appearing, go to Lynn's Warriors on Twitter. Lynn's Warriors. Go there right now. Let me tell you right now, you should have seen her. They didn't know what hit them. She's looking very and mighty sexy too in her outfit, storming the Capitol. Yes, sirree. They said, "Uh-oh, here comes trouble." Hang on a minute. Where is it? I want you to see this, my dear friends. There we go. I want you to take these two links here right now. One is for Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. The other one is for her on Twitter. In any event, when something works, go for it. I told you the story again. I'm not going to make you sit through it. I had a 1 hour wrestling career in high school, and we're on the mat and I'm throwing this guy. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I did something with my knee or my elbow. I don't know. And I had this guy screaming. I don't know what I did. And the coach came behind me and threw me off and said, "No submission holds." I said, "I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know what I did, but all I know is it hurt. And if there were submission holds, I would have won because he would have given up. This is that simple. This is a submission hold. Come on, go for it." Evan says, "Oh, Drudge, what happened there? What a change up. Where is Drudge? Where is Matt Drudge? Is he alive?" My good friend Lynn Samuels from WABC was very close with Matt Drudge. They were pals, and I don't know what happened to him. I mean, is he alive? Has anybody seen him? Anybody care? Another story. Wait a minute. Marcus Ferguson. What about domestic cat eaters put in the Springfield Zoo tiger cage? Wow. That is heavy. Reminds me of we saw Robin Williams on Broadway. Remember that? The Tiger of Bengal Zoo? It was weird, but he was a bear and he was a tiger. It was a weird thing. But anyway, that was Robin Williams. Anyway. President Trump, keep going. Do whatever you want. I know what you've been asking. You've been asking, what about Paul Thongcam? Ask a couple of friends if they are voting for Kamala Harris and they don't know who she is still till the news of Joe Biden dropping out. That's true. I remember one thing, Paul, and thank you for this. You don't go. Let me ask you this. I keep saying this. I keep changing it because I'm trying to find out a new way to say this. If you walk to McDonald's and there were people standing in line or online, as we say here in New York, and we said, "Excuse me, why are you here at McDonald's?" Nobody will say, "Because I hate Arby's, because I hate Burger King, because I can't stand Wendy's." Nobody does that. You don't go to McDonald's because you hate Wendy's. You go to McDonald's because you like Wendy's. Nobody goes to a place because I don't like. Why are you seeing this movie? Because I don't want to see that movie. It doesn't work that way. Why did you marry this person? Because I didn't want to marry that person. It's illogical. It doesn't work like that. You don't select something because you don't want something else. If life ever gave you a this or that, maybe you could say, "Well, I had to take this," but you don't have to take Kamala Harris. You don't have to. And if the basis for your political belief is that you don't like Trump, that's not going to do it. That doesn't get people off their ass to show up. And I'm not going to bring up the ballots because you know how I feel about that. In order to go there, you have to have a perfervid focus, and you have to enjoy an animation towards the belief in him. And I'm telling you, they don't know what they're doing. So they're showing her going to people that are already bussed in to see this weird Mr. Jazz Hands. Let me ask you just a very, very simple question. You got to ask yourself a question. And I think it's weird, but think about this. Would you let, if you didn't know these people and you said, listen, if you don't mind, I'm going to be going to the doctor and the sitter's not here. She'll be here in an hour. I've got to go to a doctor's appointment. Would you watch my 5-year-old boy, little Timmy, or forget Timmy, wrong name. How about little Billy? And you got Tampon Tim or President Trump. And you said, I could pick either one. Because I just, it's my son. And I okay. Come on. You could talk about this all day long. He's not weird. He's crazy. This is a guy who is a liar. And she is going to say to herself, why did you give me this schmuck? He got IVF versus IUI, intrauterine insemination. Is not IVF. You didn't know that? You know when somebody goes to the doctor and somebody says, what do you have? Well, I have a diverticulum of the esophageal. I have a Tallwort syndrome. And what? Because immediately you know this. Well, if of course it's for the seventh differential in the axis and the medullary. Yes, it's the medullary and neoplasm. And we've gone, and I'm in a doctor, and we've had prolaxin, Mistaxin. You know all the names. You're like a walking expert over this thing. What? Especially if it's your kid. What is it? Well, it's got prolaxis of the vestigial fibula. And there is a incorporeal, a corporectomy, and the determinant is going to be doing. We're going to go through 4 stages of intermediary. You know every word, every phrase. He doesn't know the difference between IVF, embryos, insemination, and basically putting sperm directly into his wife's uterus. That's intrauterine insemination. That's not IVF. Now, he didn't know that, or he knew it and didn't care and lied. And for her to say, oh, I'm a gun owner, stop it. This was gratuitous. Stop it. Well, I never said that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Do you know what people love? When somebody says, yes, I did say that. I hate AR-15s. I don't like AR-15s. And if I had a way of ridding the world of AR-15s, I would. But I've got to stick with the law, and I've got to maintain the rules of the Constitution. But I'm telling you right now, I hate them. People would say, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Let me ask you a question. Yes or no? If I could snap my fingers right now, and there were no weapons of any kind that existed on any square inch of the planet, not rifles, not pistols, not machine guns, not automatic weapons, nothing. Forget bombs. I don't know about that, but just there were none. All of a sudden people say, hey, where's my gun? It's gone. It's gone. The bad guys say, where's my gun? If they just didn't exist, you would have no more armed robberies. You would have no more murders. You would have, you self-defense. But if somebody could snap their fingers and say, I don't want there to be any guns in the world, would you do that? Think about that. You're not going to hurt anybody, but they are. Would you do that? If you could do this, if you could somehow do some metaphysical thought experiment, snap your fingers. They just don't exist. They don't exist. No more. Not Saturday Night Special. Ask yourself that question. Would you do this? Ladies and gentlemen, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, whatever happened to Pamela Garner? Well, there she is. Thank you, Pam. PG, as we call it, rated PG. I believe in the Second Amendment. But guns, I know it. I was an avid, rabid pistol shooter. Loved it. Just targets. We did bowling pins and things like that. Not a hunter. Nothing wrong with hunting. I'm not saying that. But once you feel that pow, you realize, oh man, whoa. Man, this is like, oh, this is serious business. Anybody who thinks that this is fun, you know, you feel it. And the smell and the loud and the home. I have such respect for that. I never liked anybody who said, hey, want to see my gun? No. It's not jewelry. It's not a watch. No, I don't want to see it. Unless you're a collector or something, but no. I knew this one friend, kind of friend of the family, said, yeah, I'm going to go learn how to do a shotgun. I said, you shouldn't be near a weapon. Do you know what shooting a shotgun is? A shotgun? Are you long barrel? Do you know what you're talking about? Well, I said, no, there is nobody on the planet who is more frightened of guns than I am. This is not a joke. This isn't a piece of jewelry. This is serious. And I respect it and I fear it. And I don't like open carry. I don't like that. This is not a joke. This is serious. But you can't ban them. You can't ban because of our Constitution. And the reason why we kill more people in this country is not because there's more guns, but because we're crazy. We're crazy. If you go look at other countries, let me see. Countries with most gun murders. Look at these. Gun deaths 2024. The countries. Let me see. Here we go. Gun deaths. Okay, here we go. Countries with the highest rate of violent gun death, homicides per 100,000 residents. This is 2019, okay? You ready? Number one. Where do you think number one is? Venezuela. I'll do them in the top 10, right? Venezuela, El Salvador, Guatemala, United States Virgin Islands, Colombia, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Bahamas, Belize, and Honduras. We're not even in there. Anybody want to talk about that? And here's the best part. Do you know why they're doing it? Do you know why they're shooting each other? Crime, drugs, territory, honor. We do it because we have a bad day. We do it because we got some freak kid with pink hair and, some stud in his nose who gets crazy, maybe gets off his medication or has a bad day or feels anxious or somebody lies, goes on Facebook, lists some crazy manifesto about whatever, and goes on and kills people because they're out of their mind. That's why we do it. These people do it because of drugs. They said, no, we don't. You don't have some Belize, some Honduran who goes, I can't take it. And these are in countries with poverty you can't believe. They don't lose their mind. We're the richest country maybe in the world, but we're so screwed up and effed up that we go out there, we just start killing people because we have a bad day. We got a hair up our arse and we say, we're going to go out there. We're nuts. That's who we are. We're a country of lunatics. It has nothing to do with guns. We have a mental health problem. We're crazy. Crazy. Look who wants to be your Democratic president. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. We're a country right now with no one in charge. Wait a minute. What was that? There's no one in charge, and nobody is saying anything. If you were in a plane and you said, you know, this is weird. What? They just opened up the cockpit and there's nobody flying the plane. Well, maybe there's a this you would notice. Doesn't matter that Joe's not in charge. This is how screwed up we are. But Drudge Report, they're not worried about that. They're worried about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Laura Loomer. That's what they're worried about. Or cats being attacked by voracious voodoo merchants from Haiti in Springfield, Ohio. That's what they're worried about. And you wonder why we kill each other? We're nuts. We're out of our minds. We got a guy walking around who's incontinent yelling, who ordered the veal cutlet? I don't even know where he is. Mentally, you wouldn't, like my friend said, you wouldn't let him drive you home from the airport. This guy's out of his tree. And you're asking the question, gee, I wonder what's wrong with us. We're nuts. We are effed up royally. I mean, off the charts. You dig? So you can do one of two things, my friend. You can do nothing. You can make sure you go out and you vote for Donald Trump. He may not be perfect. He may be whatever. But compared to these lunatics, there is no comparison. All right? You got it? You got it? All right. So, as we said, Pamela Garner, Paul Funkham, Marcus Ferguson. By the magic, can you imagine this? Going out to eat with Marcus, our buddy, from, I think, Indonesia. And they got the bill. What is it? 250 million rupees. How much do you have? I got 150,000. What about you? Can we split this? I love that. Thank you, my friend. Evan Webb. What a tangled Evan Webb we weave. Tom Malloy, everybody. Edie Crowley. Honest AF. I love this. Let me see. Oh, ask Marcus if he's married. All righty. Very good. Marcus, consider you out. Lizzie Solak, my friends. She's the den mother. Bless her heart. And George Lenz and Raul Rodriguez and Edie Crowley. Edie, we love you to death. Let me also remind you, friends, if you have been wowed by the majesty of my presentation this morning, then join you and your local friends, your friends from all over the world. Join them as we storm New York's cutting room on October 26th. This is the tickets. Get them now because this is going to be 10 days before the election. And let me also tell you something. This is not a comedy show. No. This is, I mean, you're going to laugh, of course, but it's a little gut bucket music. And this is something beyond that. This is something beyond it. And there's nothing like being in a room with the energy of, I've been doing this for a while now. And people like Tucker are doing it. Not that he's copying me, but he goes out and he talks to people. And people are packing venues to see people who are like-minded. We would love to have you. Mrs. L will be there. I'll be there. I want to take pictures of every single one of you. You can't go until I meet you, shake your hand, and thank you for attending. I'm not one of these people who's shy. Believe me when I tell you that. I'm not one of these. One time we went to a Louis Anderson thing. It's like he didn't want to. But hey, thank you. Okay, maybe he had a bad day. I'm not like that. Okay? Believe me when I tell you that. All right, dear friends, don't forget also follow Lynn's Warriors. Check out her latest. Let me show you this one. She did one of the best pieces yesterday on this feller named Diddy. Diddy or didn't he? Oh, he did. And she was also a part of the, let me give you this right there. She was also on this Nancy Grace show and owned it. Owned it. So anyway, this is it. Here is the link. Go right now and watch this. Diddy is done. She's been talking about this since day one. Go there right now. You got me? Lynn's Warriors. All right, friends. Have a great and glorious day. Sorry about that. No, I'm not. It's a talent. It's a talent, and I respect it. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Don't ever forget that. Also, make sure you stay subscribed to Lionel Nation because I've got stuff that pops up during the day. And until then, my friends, remember, as we always say, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.